Hi, this is Philip Byrne for PhoneScoop.com, and here I'm looking at the Samsung Craft, which is the first LTE phone to hit the US market. It's available from Metro PCS, and it's only available in the two markets where Metro PCS has LTE active right now, which is Las Vegas and Dallas, and I'm here in the Dallas area. So the Samsung Craft, as you can see, is a full QWERTY slider. It's actually not a smartphone, it's a full-on feature phone, so it's got mostly feature phone type features. It doesn't have a lot of the applications and smart networking features that you'll find on, say, the Samsung Galaxy phones. And it's a fairly simple and basic phone, except for the fact that it uses that faster 4G networking. So just how fast is that new LTE network? Well, here I have the Samsung Craft on the right. This is my own personal Google Nexus 1 on the left. The Nexus 1 is running on T-Mobile's HSDPA network, and the Craft is running on Metro PCS's 4G. And here we go. So we're loading up PhoneScoop.com. And HSDPA is done. There's LTE, just about a step behind. Let's try that one more time. We'll try to reload these pages. And as you can see, it's pretty much neck and neck. I'll give that one to the LTE phone first. And that was my experience all around with this network. With the LTE network, I never found it was much faster than even a mediocre 3G network. And what's even worse is that it's really held back by the software. So as you can see here, I'll load up CNN. It loads up fairly quickly. But what you get is just the mobile version of the page. You don't get the full CNN desktop version. And usually you'd have a link down here, but this phone identifies as a sort of a mobile browser. So for a lot of my favorite sites, there was just really no way to view them in their full version, which seems like a real waste of a fast networking technology. So if the slow networking wasn't enough to have me questioning the Samsung Craft, the interface design and the apps on board really make me wonder what the deal is with this phone and why it ever made it to market. It uses the older version of the Samsung TouchWiz interface, which I really just find awful. It's got these widgets. They all pile up on top of each other if you put too many on screen. They're very tough to organize. This touchscreen is just horribly unresponsive. It's almost like using a resistive touchscreen, even though I'm sure it's a capacitive screen. You can use TouchWiz in landscape mode as well, but here you see this bar on the side becomes a strange sort of shortcuts bar, as if I'm going to need to access Wi-Fi and Bluetooth so often. And the widgets bar is moved down here to the bottom of the screen. As you can see, it's just too difficult to control. This is really just not a very good interface. When you dive into the main menus, things don't get too much better. One interesting thing I found, this phone is just loaded with carrier bloat. Of the 12 options on main menu screen number 1, about 8 of them use the word Metro in some way. And it's just really not clear what you're getting. So what's the difference between @Metro or Metro Studio or My Metro? These are just ridiculous. It's just not helpful. Maybe worst of all, there's just no compelling reason to make LTE worthwhile on this phone. So you do have a streaming video service that Metro provides. It's entirely clips. You can't watch full channels or full episodes like you can with a media flow type service on AT&T or Verizon Wireless. And it just doesn't look very good. For a super fast network, this should be very smooth. It should be very clean looking. But it was sort of blocky and it just didn't play very quickly. Overall, I found the phone very sluggish to use, sort of unresponsive. You can see even just navigating the home screens, there's a huge delay. It takes a while just to draw the icons on screen. And it's just not a very fast, responsive phone like I would expect from the first phone on a 4G network. Here's the camera interface. You can see it does have a very nice, touch-friendly interface. It's easy to use. Most of the best features are just lined up here on the sides for you to access. And it does have a 2-stage autofocus shutter. It's a 3-megapixel camera. And you can see my sample images with my full review on phonescoop.com. So that's the Samsung Craft. In the end, it feels really more like a museum piece. Like one day you're going to head over to the Samsung Experience in Columbus Circle in New York City, and sitting there under glass will be the first LTE phone on the US market, and this is it, the Samsung Craft. It's a phone that you might want to look at someday under glass, but I really wouldn't recommend buying it. I would wait until Metro PCS launches a really nice, competent smartphone on their LTE network. For phonescoop.com, this is Philip Byrne.